Prepare to verify destruct sequence code 1.
It's the Talking Dicks. We are the podcast vlogcast spin-off to the very popular web series, The Two Dicks. I'm Al Ducharme in Studio City, California, and this is episode 50, and that's my partner right there, Al Romas. Happy 50th.
50 episodes, 50 volumes. Holy God, we did it. They said we couldn't, and we wouldn't. Nobody said that. I'm just making shit up. But we
like the women in our lives. He said we couldn't last.
Is that? Yes,
I went blue.
You, right out of the chute, right out of the celebration.
Right out.
What are you drinking, Alfred? You have a celebratory cocktail in there?
I was going to save that for, we're going to be doing a Patreon Zoom meeting for our members in a little bit, but you jumped right in.
I did jump right in. Well, it's 50. You got to celebrate a 50th volume. I mean, we started this thing at the end of March, I believe, and now we're heading into the end of September. I mean, where does it does it end? Does it just continue forever? Are we going to be talking old, shriveled up dicks someday? Or are we going to, is there an ending in sight?
Huh?
I don't know. We'll just keep going.
We'll see what happens with this pandemic, We probably will go down to once a week for the Talking Dicks when the pandemic is over.
When we're back at work, we're in various cities and countries and wherever we are, we can do it. And any guesses on the beer I'm enjoying?
See,
any guesses on the old?
I think that's a flat tire. He told me in pre warm up.
Oh, you son of a!
Well, you told me you were buying some flat tire a few days ago.
Yeah, flat tire from a show we talked about. I think that was one of the first shows I started binging during this pandemic. That was Bosch on Showtime.
I still haven't taken it in yet.
You're still traumatized by Longmire. you don't trust me anymore.
Hey, you know what we watched? Yeah, we watched. By the way, we had Friday night. We had an earthquake here. It was I keep hearing 4.6, 5.2, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
We were in the middle.
I'm glad everyone's marked safe. I love that on Facebook. I'm marked safe from the.
Well,
you're fine. You're fine. Nobody died.
A bookcase can fall over and crush you.
Ugh, horrible. I'm marked safe from the fires.
Another reason
safe.
Another reason for everybody to go digital. Get rid of those books.
Yeah. Did you drop and cover?
Isn't
that what you do?
It lasted. It was a roller, so it was a. And we were actually watching. My wife and I, Bernadette Pauly, we were watching a scary movie called Hereditary with our little Australian actress there, Toni Collette. Oh, I love her. She was like unbelievable in it. Also, Gabriel Byrne was in it as well. They co-produced it, but it was a very scary movie about supernatural shit going on. And then all of a sudden, right in the middle of it, the earthquake happens. And I grabbed my lovely bride and I said, honey, this one's rolling still. Come with me. And we have an arch that separates our living room from our kitchen. And I said, let's just stay here. And then I realized that we had all these bottles of wine in our wine chest here, and I'm like, this is not a good place to be either. But because
how many bottles of wine do you have in the old wine chest?
It's dwindling, but we stocked it up with a couple of cases a couple of months ago.
All right.
So
okay.
In preparation.
So you survived. You marked yourself safe from the earthquake.
I don't mark myself safe, but I do say that I experienced it. Like, as soon as it happened, I got my phone and went, that was a roller, #earthquake. Yeah. Because you want to hear from people. You want to know where the epicenter is. You want to know that how far you are. And one time, it was only a couple of 100 yards a few years ago. We had the epicenter right here. And our bed pretty much went, vroom, like it was satanic worshiping. It was definitely an exorcism happening. Vroom, the whole bed. And there was.
I think I'm too young. I'm too young for that reference. But continue. I don't know what you're saying. Exorcist in the bed. Go ahead. Continue, please. I don't get all the references. I'm a little young sometimes.
Linda Blair in The Exorcist on the bed.
I don't know. Go ahead.
It must have been during your Navy years when you were in the Navy.
Linda Blair no, I don't know. I was in the Navy 84 to 88. Challenger. The Challenger, sir. That whole thing.
Are you allowed to talk about that at all? It's public knowledge that his ship, the Guam, the USS Guam, helicopter carrier,
Yes,
officially.
Yeah.
Am I allowed to talk about this?
No.
Okay.
No, it recovered parts of the Challenger.
The Challenger disaster, the space shuttle. For those of you,
but
for those of you that are younger, the space shuttle Challenger, it didn't blow up.
No.
The fuel tanks on the space shuttle Challenger,
The O-rings, yeah.
blew
Melted.
up, faulty O-rings, and they were way behind, and they went ahead with the launch because it was delayed a few times.
The weather was cold. It was January.
Bad weather.
It was actually cold, so they scrubbed it twice, and people knew those O-rings weren't going to do well in the cold weather, and then being through the heat, they're not going to hold, but some people knew. They even had to sign off on it. Guys who knew, this is probably not going to be the best thing, but there's a good docu on Netflix about it right now. I have not seen the whole thing, but so far so good.
Well, nothing can be 100%. They can't say,
right.
We can't launch until everything is 100% because you'll never launch. So they have a margin where they'll say, okay, we can launch if this is 87%, 87.6% and higher. That's
Right.
your window.
They knew.
But sometimes it's 84%. And they're like, push it through, Murphy. All right.
Yeah.
You want to raise? Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm making up numbers, but I'm just as an example.
And names. I don't know if Murphy's the guy or not, but
Well, Frank Murphy is the father on F is for Family. And
plug.
fingers crossed, folks, for season 5.
Plug.
Waiting to hear.
Waiting to hear if a new AIDS quilt will be in the mail. Very exciting. He wants another quilt.
We did have a meeting the other day. We did have a meeting because we were discussing things. Just a meeting.
Oh,
it was a
good.
Zoom meeting. They wanted to.
Right.
They wanted to let us know what their thoughts were, and we're waiting to hear on things. But I had this prominently displayed.
And people enjoy it. They
Well,
enjoy
I wasn't
seeing-
the only one. My
other people.
co-star, she's a wonderful voiceover actress, Debbie Derryberry. She had one, but she had it over on her sofa off to the side. She said, "Hey guys, you got to check out my quilt," and she didn't look at mine yet because there was a bunch. There was like 16 of us on the Zoom meeting, and she goes,
Right.
and they're like, "Debbie, check out Al's," and I was like,
Right.
But anywho,
Debbie.
fingers
What was
crossed.
that name? What was that last name?
Debbie. Derryberry. Debbie
What?
Derryberry. It's hard to say. It's a cute name.
Debbie.
Derryberry.
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 Debbie Derryberry. Wow.
Yeah,
And she's a voiceover.
she's a voiceover
That's-
artist, and she did the voiceover artist to Jimmy Neutron, Boy Genius. She was
okay.
his voice, but she's done
Well.
dozens and dozens of voices. On F is for Family, she does a bunch. When we do the table, reads in the past, she always had like 6. Sometimes she'd be reading.
Wow.
She plays 2 characters that are in a scene together, and she has to go back and forth. But she's so good. You got to look across the table, and you're like, is she doing both voices?
Yeah.
She's so good.
I need a voiceover artist just to say her name. That's a twister. Debbie Derryberry. Hey, you know what time it is there, Pally?
Questions.
Oh yeah, 50th
Hold on.
volume.
I have to take my temperature. Oh, by the way, temperature gun. They say don't do this. It's
Right.
more accurate in the elbow and the wrist, and this messes with your, whatever the brain, your gonads.
Right.
It messes with your head testicles. So they say do this.
I went into
97.2.
nobody cares. I went into Davidoff the other day, and a guy with a mask.
That's where the rich
put a gun
guys go to
my
smoke
head.
cigars and unemployed comedians.
That's right. I have no business being in there. And a guy with a mask comes up and puts a gun to my head when I walked in. I thought it was, you know what I mean? But there you go. That's
And he
it's
said,
a weird.
and he
life-
said, "This is a stick up," and he handed you a cigar.
weird
a stick.
weird world we're living in.
A
right
weird
now, sir.
world we're living in right
Weird
now. A weird
world.
Debbie Derryberry. Weird
How would
world.
Debbie Derrenberry say that? Let's get her on the old. Let's get an interview. Maybe we could do that with Debbie Derrenberry.
Oh, I'd ask her.
What do you think of that?
Yeah, because
Let's ask her. Let's get her on the Patreon page.
we're of the same family. Why not, right?
Yeah, you're okay. Ready? Here we go. Question.
Who else should I ask from Efforts for Family?
I don't know. I can't think of anyone who might bring some eyes to the podcast and maybe a few new followers. I can't think of anyone who from the F for Family show.
He has like a 2-month-old and he has a 2-year-old, and
I don't. And he give you 30 minutes. That's all we ask for, Mr. Bird. 30 minutes.
5 minutes.
Oh, I'd like 30. I'd like a full.
He'll stay longer.
I'd like a full.
He'd
He's a chatty bastard. Sir, please. Please. Ready? Here we go. Question. This is a question from Paul Francis Riley.
Paul Francis Riley.
Paul Francis Riley. He writes. I don't remember what this is. Why we're doing this, but I'm sure he knows. Do you remember the character Harry Morgan played on one of the episodes of MASH before he was cast as Colonel Potter?
Radar.
Who's that?
Radar. I'm trying to.
Who's that?
I'm trying to zero in on
No.
Colonel Potter.
No, it's horrible. Before Colonel Potter, Harry Morgan had
he
a
guest
one
starred.
episode.
A one-off.
He guest starred, and he won an Emmy. I remember he
He won an Emmy and then
so
came
good.
back and played a lead.
Yes, sir. But he was. I can't remember his name. Do you remember the character? I remember he was a general who was nuts. Remember that he was insane, and he inspected the troops, and he was nuts.
That was him?
Yes, and he wanted to move MASH because he said, "You guys are it's a mobile army surgical hospital.
Why are you
So he
stationary?
wanted to move them.
Yeah.
Let's move. We're going up to the front." And Hawkeye said something to him, and there was a trial at the end. He was going to have Hawkeye, booted out. And do you remember I remember the pilot, the helicopter pilot, was a black guy, and this general was like, "Tell us what happened. You're not in any trouble, but first, a number." And the guy was like, "What, General? A number?" And he wanted him to sing a song and a dance. and then Harry Morgan got up and started clapping his hands and sang like an old
racist.
Minstrel spiritual thing, and then just danced right out the tent. And I remember the MPs just closing up their briefcase, and they were like, "That's it.
He's gone."
And one of the last lines, he said something like, whatever. The last line was basically Hawkeye talking about, he's going to end up in a rubber room. But he won an Emmy for that, and then he came back the next season as Colonel Potter.
The very next
there's your
season?
answer there. I believe that season, yeah.
They didn't skip a year.
Stevenson left.
Right.
I think it might have been the next season.
I didn't know that. That's a great little trivia thing. Thank you, Paul Francis Riley, for that. But we have to think of the character's name. So if you know the character's name, hit a like and put it in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. And Brian Freights is like 10 for 10.
Brian will know. He will have it. And while you're doing that, by the way, hit subscribe on YouTube. It's free and easy to do.
Go to YouTube.
And you're probably watching this via the YouTube. We've connected it now, so hit the like and hit subscribe.
Go to YouTube
Very
and
simple.
subscribe. That's free. If you'd like to support us, go to the patreon.com/the two dicks.
And you can join us on the next time we do a happy hour with our patrons, which is coming up in a little bit for us. Paul Francis Riley had a B part of that question, A and B. Now we've covered this ground, but we'll cover it again. We may have new eyes, new ears, new testicles here. What was the origin, the inspiration, the impetus of the two dicks? You want to take that one, Alfred?
I had this vision in my head of doing 1950s what do you call it? Do you call it boiler room lingo? No, it's not boiler room. What is
Film noir.
Yeah, film noir, detectives. You see, yeah, we where were you on the 14th, McGuire? Yes.
Yeah.
We wanted to do something. You and I actually made a video a month before we did the interrogation. And Al and I have this, we always had chemistry whenever we met up. 8 years later, we picked right up where we left off, comic thing. Yeah. And so we did that. We were working together on a cruise ship. And I said, hey, Al, I have all my equipment, my camera. Do you want to make a video? It was during the hurricane season. And it was called The Tale of Two Als. And we were actually on a cruise ship. And here's the video. You can finish the rest of it at another time. And 1 month later, we were working together again. I said, hey, I've been having this idea, and I think that you and I would be perfect for it. I said, it's a good cop, bad cop, 1950s detective. And he said, I'm the bad cop. And they said, okay, we'll talk about it. We'll hash it out over the course of the next couple of days, and we'll figure it out. And we were on the ship for a week, and didn't we have 14 or 16 performances?
Probably a 16
shows. So we would smoke cigars and have lunch and whatnot. We discussed what it was, what we wanted to do, bullet points. And then he's like, we're leaving tomorrow.
I remember we were in Cozumel. We were in a cigar bar in Cozumel on day 6. I go, if we're going to film something, we probably should do it because we're going home Saturday, And that's what we did. We did the next day. We had a C day, and we went in the conference room and did our little filming there.
I think we were in there for there was actually conferences going on in some of the adjoining rooms, and we put suits on. And I knew if we put suits on, nobody would bother us, because if we had to go down there in t-shirts and shorts, somebody would have come on over. You get out of here! You can't be in here. But we did. We put our suits on, so no one was coming near us because they thought we were.
People are just run scared in their lives, and they'll never question anything if they. You know what I mean? If you're in a suit,
well, they thought
no one's going to go, what are you doing in there?
They thought we were from corporate. That's what we figured out later. Right. We had someone actually say, well, we thought you guys were from Miami office.
Yeah,
so
they're all scared.
They're all scared, running away from us. So we had this room, and I think we shot it in 45 minutes or less.
Yeah,
and then we edited it down to 5 minutes. And I remember telling him, I'm saying, Al, I think we have something here. I can't get through the editing. I'm laughing. And I had to get rid of a bunch of shit. But
yeah. No, that was
we got it done.
That was a lot of fun, and it went really well. And then we split, and I went home, you went home, and then about a couple weeks later, you were like, "Hey, I really want to do another one of these."
Well, we were getting a lot of response from it. People loved it. They were requesting more. Can you do more? I think Paul Francis Riley may have been one of them.
Paul Francis Riley? And who we will be seeing on our happy hour.
I'm hoping, because he's camping right now, and we're going to be. Oh, we got to start in like 13 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Right,
well, I think you answered the question.
Yes.
That was the origin, the inspiration, and the impetus of the Two Dicks. That's how it was done. Thank you, Paul Francis Riley, for a two-parter. See that, folks?
See how easy that is?
Two-parter.
Subscribe on YouTube. Hit like on Facebook. Put a comment, ask a question, join Patreon if you got $5-10 a month.
You wouldn't even know it. If you pledged $5. What's $5?
$60 a year. You get to see stuff before everybody else gets to see it. Plus, you get to see content that will remain on the Patreon page.
It's remaining, and something like this, where we're having a private happy hour. Now we'll do this again. We'll do more of these, unless it fucking sucks. But
on that note,
fine.
Cheers, everybody. We got to run. We got to prepare.
Happy 50th.
Happy 50th.
Subscribe.
Mary.
If you shoot me, you won't see a cent of that money.